Yeah, we're right there. We're right there. And
Yeah.
but we had showers like right behind us. And
Dude.
so I'm just getting warm. We're getting wet and warm watching Reggie Watts.
Yeah.
Which there's so many times I had to do like a mental double take where I'm just like, I've never experienced like a show like this before. This is so interesting.
It was so cool.
And I was just really enjoying myself, and then I heard a very familiar voice to my right, and I'm like, no way, I thought this might happen. I turn, and who is it? Rudy Tyburczy himself.
Boom.
Naked, dick out, we hug. It's a whole thing. Yeah. And that was a beautiful moment too, because I'm like, man, this guy booked me for my very first show in Fair, you know what I mean? And now I'm hanging out naked with him, watching Reggie Watts.
Dude.
Dream
come true stuff.
It was really dream come true stuff.
Jokes in the gym, jokes in the gym, not jokes in the gym. Jokes in the gym, jokes in the gym. With Rudy Tyburczy.
Hey everyone, thank you for hanging out. It's Rudy, this is Jokes in the Gym. That's the podcast you're listening to. It's another very fun episode. I had such a blast listening to this, like re-listening to my conversation with... They're always fun to listen to, but this one was not different in that regard. Eugene Kailiuli is a comedian here in Eugene. He's funny, he's charming, he's handsome, and he's got haters for it. You know what I mean? It's not easy being guys like Gene and me who got it all. You know what I mean? We just got all of it. And some people don't like that. But that's okay. I don't know. Maybe I'm just feeling myself. Because it was my birthday this week. Oh, baby. Turned 41. I'm an adult. Felt good. Had a nice day. And you know what? I know I'm getting older because on my birthday evening, I chose to stay in. I chose to stay in because I wanted to watch a movie, and then I fell asleep. Didn't even finish it. Shyamalan's The Visit. The Visit ended early for me. Saw The Trap this weekend, or just Trap. But I was also featuring at the club this weekend, which was so fun for Scott Cease. Hilarious comedian. Great guy. And it was just so much fun to be able to be on shows all weekend long with him, with Burt Walpack. Seth dropped by, Eric dropped by. It was a blast. The crowds were a lot of fun. I had so much fun. I just got a thumbs up on my screen for some reason. And, man, it felt great. Really did. So I am excited that I got the chance to do the job that I maybe enjoy the most in comedy, which is featuring. And I got a chance to do it at a club in my hometown 4 times in 2 days. That's a huge deal. And I feel like I did all right. You know, there's always things I can get better at. But I had enjoyable times. And people were very complimentary. Sold a handful of shirts, which felt good. And had a blast. Got to connect more with Bert, friend of the show, Dr. Walpack. And meet a really funny guy who is doing things, and he's in Baltimore, and we had a mutual friend or two, and so that was fun to talk about. So yeah, just left me feeling good. And so then I worked yesterday on my birthday, and it was kind of fun to work on my birthday, you know. And then I watched a friggin' disappointing House of the Dragon finale. Are you kidding me? I was so looking forward to that. Oh my gosh, my mom and I made hamburgers. We made all... Oh my gosh, her potato salad was on point. As were Bush's baked beans, vegetarian style, with these Impossible burgers. Oh, the food was so good. But the finale was so not. Disappointing. They didn't give us crap. They didn't give us nothing in that finale. At least from my perspective. So maybe you thought differently. Maybe you loved it. Let me know in the comments. What comments? Whichever ones you're in. Anyways, so yeah, it's the beginning of the week. Feeling good. Not as busy this month, and gonna kind of keep it that way. And I think I'm gonna, you know, kind of get my feet under me, make a few more adjustments moving forward. I might I didn't have caffeinated coffee today, so that's kind of an adjustment I might be making. We'll see how that goes, how long it sticks. But yeah. I'm chugging along and I'm doing all right, and it's been fun to yeah, it's been fun to really be intentional with my preparation for the shows last week. And then the whole week leading up to it, I feel like I was just preparing and getting myself in a good place for the weekend, and I had a great time. I went to a friend's movie premiere as well. It was cool. It was a good week, and so I did an appropriate amount of like socializing and forward moving stuff. So I'm excited about that. And I'm also excited about our super fake sponsor that no one's ever heard of and doesn't exist. It's Friggity From's Friggity Froobs. Friggity From's Friggity Froobs. You ever known those? Nope. 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 So if you want them, good luck finding them, because you're not gonna. I'll see you next time with Friggity From's Friggity Frooms. And I will see you soon listening to this conversation with my friend, Gene Kailiuli.
Right on. Well, I'm excited too for my guest today. He's Eugenian. He's been living here for a while now. I don't even know how long he's been here, but I'm excited to get more into that. He's done comedy. He's doing comedy here in Eugene. He also did comedy with me at Oregon Country Fair. Eugene was very excited to be doing some shows with us, and I'm excited to have him here on the pod. Everyone put your hands together for Gene Kailiuli. Woo, 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 woo. Now,
Nailed the last name.
I did. Now, did I nail the first name? Do you go by Gene? Is that what it is?
I go by Gene. I kind of want Eugene to be my stage name, though. I feel like there's a lot more comedy fodder there. I can make fun of that a little bit more than just Gene. Plus, it's the name of the city that I live in, so it's just kind of good branding. I'm a businessman first and foremost, so I gotta push the brand, of course. Yeah,
you did sneak a business card into my hand the first time we met.
I sure did. I'm making merch right now that says "Comedy comes second," and then everybody can infer that business is the forefront of my. Yeah, that's how I roll. Yeah,
comedy comes second.
Right, but I've noticed that people are putting Gene Kailiuli because people have gotten to know me a little bit more and know that I go by Gene. So that's been on the poster, the millions of posters that I'm on.
Yeah, so many, all of them.
Yeah, every single one now. But I
even if it's just a little show in a brewery or a garden or a machine shop. Yeah, it's fun to see your name up there on a little poster that somebody made in 4 minutes on their phone. What?
True.
That's pride. I feel pride.
Me too. Yeah, it's so dumb. But just seeing like your face and your name on a poster that says comedy on it, like no matter what tier that is, it feels good. It's cool. I never really did it that much, but like posting on Instagram, like posting on your story, and you could put like some cool music along with it. It's fun. It's just
like
a good time.
Kiss sponsors me as a comedian.
Exactly. 100%. Yeah. I feel like a real comedian.
And you know what? I think that there's like 95% of the population who probably won't see their name like on a show poster or something at some point. And everyone's like, ooh, his name is in lights. And I'm like, actually, it's digitized. It's in zeros and ones. And
it is.
7 people have seen it.
Exactly. But hey, in the 20s, like that was the only post you could make was like physical, like billboard or marquees or whatever.
Right.
So it's gotten a lot easier to get your name in front of people. And,
I just put it up there myself now. That's where I'm at.
Yeah. Well, hey, buddy, I got my name on I-5. All right, if you think about it, you know what I mean? Eugene.
What?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Your name's all over
Silly
town,
joke.
Bro.
It is, bro. I see my name up in lights and on green, billboards and everywhere.
You're
see
always...
billboards that says Eugene, I can help. I'm like, oh, it's like a lawyer, Eugene, I'm here for you. Yeah,
Eugene, 42. It just says numbers next to it.
Yeah, exactly.
Take your picture in front of all the... I would love to see a Eugene project where you're just taking pictures in front of all the Eugene signs.
I should, honestly. Like, that would... If I get enough dates to where I start posting those things, where I'm, like, posting a list of my dates, it should just be in front of, like... Yeah, it's like I'm on the side of a highway next to a bunch of people picking up trash and stuff, and I'm like, hey, Eugene, exit 262, let's go.
Just past Springfield.
Yeah, so there's perks to the name, Rudy. That's all I'm saying.
Oh, yeah. What what was it that drew you to Eugene in the first place? Because you're from Hawaii, is this correct?
That's what a lot of people think because my last name is so aggressively Hawaiian, Kailiuli.
Yeah.
Which I always thought, the irony there is, the Eugene tells all the first name, because that's where I'm technically from. Well, between you and me, I we're not,
it's just us,
fun, right? Yeah, it's just to record it, but it's just for you, to listen back to. I was born in Roseburg, technically.
Oh, okay.
So yeah, I'm a bit of a fraud in that case. I'm not. But
I feel like a fraud. I'm just assuming you're from Hawaii.
That's true.
I almost feel like racist just saying your name. Like that's how Hawaiian your name is.
That's exactly. It's got that many vowels that like you always kind of feel like you're adding a little, kind of appropriating flair on it.
Yeah, like can I say it appropriately? Yeah.
Well, Seth, to shout out him, luckily this is just between me and you, like he adds a little extra like pronunciation. He's like Kailiuli, like he gets really sharp with the pronunciations. Which he says it more Hawaiian than I do, which is so offensive. Okay, you have to meet my level of authenticity because I'm the actual Hawaiian here.
Yeah, I can't go past it.
It's fun to say though, right? It's Kailiuli.
Once you learn it, it's a blast. Yeah. What have you gotten on stage? What are some weird mispronunciations you've gotten? Because I've gotten them all over the place, man.
Oh yeah, I know. That's what we can relate to as well. Very difficult last names. It's people get crazy with mine because it's so much to play with. Like Kailiuli, you can go kalala luau, you can kind of start speaking in tongues if you want to. One guy, I mean, some people don't try to the point where they like, that's the joke, is they're like, kaya la la uala luau kapui ala, go a little far with it. I guess so. It doesn't affect me that much, but I can see how it's like, it is, that's offensive. I should get offended by that, a little bit. It's like, come on, at least try. But I also get the instinct too, because it's a crazy last name. So people like lean into the craziness maybe. I
mean, you're probably the same way. Like people get scared when they see your name. They get scared when they see my name. It is. It's like you got all the vowels. I got the consonants.
Well, you got, that's so true.
I have
Together
one
we have, yeah. Oh my God, that's so true. I never thought about that. Well, do you have like the C next to a Z next to a K, or like how Tyburczy?
CZY.
Right.
Yeah, and it's like I have 8 letters in there, 1 vowel, and a bunch of Y's masquerading as sometimes vowels. It's like,
sure,
come on, Y's.
Yeah, and you got Tiber is like that first part's like nice and easy, and then it's like a train wreck near the end. No offense.
Yeah, like, but it's like, whatever. I should be getting offended.
we could both get offended.
It's like a train wreck. Yeah.
At the very end. Yeah.
Have you ever legitimately gotten offended by stuff that somebody has said to you or brought up to you?
In terms of like my last name and everything, or just
it could be name or like comedy related, like or I don't know. Do you get offended at all? Do you see something and be like, oh, that's ugh?
Not really. No, honestly, I'm not very. I try to look at like the both sides of everything and like see perspectives and everything. Yeah. So I don't know. I don't really have that in me. I don't think I'm that passionate of a person. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I don't get when people like comment really long things under things that offend them necessarily. Like if I do get offended, I'd probably just keep it to myself and just be offended.
Yeah,
to myself.
Internally.
Like, internally. Yeah, a little bit. I internalize my offendedness.
Yeah.
But yeah, with my last name, I feel like I'm not, and I want to be, but I am not as in tune with my Hawaiian side as I'd like to be. So, I wasn't raised in a very Hawaiian household or anything.
Gotcha.
I just kind of knew I was Hawaiian because of, the vowels. I mean, it's so much. It's hard to not know I'm not Hawaiian. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
that I am Hawaiian. So yeah, I feel like if I was more in touch and like raised up in that more, I would be like, hey, come on.
But you like were raised in Roseburg. Roseburg is weird. I describe Roseburg as like friendly rednecks. Friendly rednecks.
Yeah, I'd agree with that. Yeah, I don't remember too much from that time. I remember some good times. I think they're a little down and out.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know. Questioning. It's like it's like
I had good
Stockholm
times as a
syndrome.
7-year-old.
Right. I mean, yeah. When you're younger, I guess any place is like a good time. It's all you know. So it's like you don't know anything better.
Right.
Eugene is better in my opinion. I don't like going back to Roseburg
Yeah.
necessarily. It's not my favorite place, but yes, friendly rednecks, but not my crowd. Not my crowd. I would say.
You don't hear a lot of 7-year-olds being like, "I want to move to Boston."
I know Chicago is where it's happening right now. What are we doing in this dipshit of a town? But the hospital I was born at isn't like around anymore. I don't think Roseburg is doing that well. I don't know. I think soon after, like they wrecking balled the hospital or something, which I don't know what that says about me or anything.
They're like, we can't do it anymore. We got Eugene.
No more.
And that's
like
it.
This fucking guy. Yeah, this name, man. It's I mean, just shut it down. No more people in Roseburg. No new people in Roseburg.
If we get a Springfield, the town is done.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah.
So you mentioned Chicago. Do you have any desire ever to like move to a bigger market? Is that something that's on your your horizon and in your sight at some point?
I think so. Yeah, that'd be fun. Because I'd want to move somewhere where, of course, there's good comedy and everything. Because I'm gonna do that forever. I'm trapped in it now. So it's got to be a thing. And Chicago is a great example of that. That'd be a great place to go.
Right.
But yeah, I want to travel all over. I want to have like stints. I want to have a bunch of stints and I want to like window shop for a place I'd want to like live for a long time. So that includes Colorado, somewhere on the East Coast. I mean, New York, just fucking go classic there. Just go over there, try to make it work there. I've always romanticized living in a studio apartment and like everything's on the floor and I'm like using books as pillows and just roughing it.
I feel like you could do that. I feel like you can like slide into areas and maneuver your way around. Do you feel this way?
100%. Yeah. No, if I'm enthusiastic and like it's like a means is justifying the ends type of thing, like if I'm doing comedy and just roughing it, like I've always romanticized that. Cause I'm like, cause I don't know. Have you ever had like a really bad day, just the shittiest day? And then later on you have like an amazing set and it's just like, it all washes away. It's insane. How quickly like you forget, you know what I mean? That it's just that everything was shitty preceding that.
Yeah.
So, and I'm like, oh fuck yeah, no, everything's great. Yeah, like, who needs it? Yeah. It's
healthcare? Whoa, who cares?
Yeah, who needs it? Yeah, exactly. I'm fucking broke.
Unimportant. I made 12 drunks laugh on a Thursday, and we're doing great.
Yeah, exactly. I'm living off protein bars and laughs, and I think I could do that. I think I could live off of like Cliff Bars and just and bars, Cliff Bars and bars, making people laugh and dive bars, Cliff Bars and dive bars. Yeah, that's what I can see that.
There's a track title.
Yeah, for sure. That's pretty good, right? Yeah, that'd be fun.
Cliff and dive. Yeah.
Yeah, but I do get I'm a fraud in a way that I'm pretty financially stable. Like I don't know if you knew this. Yeah, ultrasound. I'm an ultrasound tech.
You got a good job.
I got a good job. Yeah. And I've done it for like 5 years now. So I'm so slotted in to that lifestyle. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, money is not a worry for me necessarily.
Mm-hmm.
So it'd be interesting to slide back into like being, because there were times where I didn't have any money and like I was scrounging and stuff, but
I mean if you made a move you would, I'm guessing, get a job beforehand. You know what I mean? And then you'd be set up for finances and then like just do your thing. Because this whole podcast and this portion of my life is about trying to find balance and like between energy for my day to day and my evening and my comedy and working out and family and friends and cats and making out and all the stuff that I want to put in my life. Do you find now at this point that you're able to kind of find a nice balance between all that stuff?
Oh, for sure. Yeah. The first 2 or 3 years when I finally got like the big job and everything were so rough. I did not do well at all. Like balancing everything, because it takes a lot of brain work to do what I'm doing, and like a lot of socializing, and like I really want to have good bedside manner, both because I'm a chronic people pleaser, and also I think the patients, that's good for the patients. I feel like that's a huge part of it.
They deserve that. We as humans.
Training. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, and I'm pretty much an introvert, so I've gotten a lot better at that. Like, kind of having little pockets of like, okay, I've socialized so much today, my battery is so low, so I'm going to need this much time to kind of just collect myself, be alone for a bit, and then I can go back out and I'll be excited about socializing again. So finding the pockets and finding where my energies lie socially has been huge.
Totally.
But it's so hard to balance everything you just listed. It's like very similar to me. It's like, okay, I gotta balance this, I'm juggling this, I'm juggling that, which it takes time to figure it out, but I'm getting there a little bit. It's very stressful though, and I have terrible coping mechanisms, so it's a whole thing. It's a whole thing.
Do you get lost in your head? Do you overthink things? Is that part of the Gene ethos?
Yeah, I guess so. I overthink like social interactions mostly.
I remember seeing you take like 5 minutes on one text in the back of one of the mics we were at one time.
yeah, totally, 100%. And I don't remember. It wasn't like a long text either, right? I was tweaking like a pretty short, like one sentence text, because I got to get the semantics right. Which that's comedy. I mean, that's what writing is. So I'm sure part of it's that, just kind of like my brain is trained to get every word kind of right. But also I'm like, this version of this like sentence is going to make me a cuck. I mean, they're not going to like me. This is a beta text. This is a beta mode right now. This gets off beta. You know what I mean? And so I deleted all, sent a dick pic instead. I mean, it's just just like it's that
just
easy.
To everyone in your contact list.
But I'm scrubbing that too. You know, I'm getting the color grading down on that. It's just like I'm getting the shading down. And
You're scrubbing the dick?
I'm scrubbing, I'm scrubbing my dick both in Photoshop and in real life. And you got to get it just right, Rudy. I guess I do overthink stuff like that, but it's like, I don't know if you can relate to that, but I don't overthink everything, right? There's certain things I'm like, whatever. I can't think of a specific example now, though. But do you know what I mean? Like, there's certain things I'm so complacent about that other people are like, like cleaning my bathroom. I don't care. It's a disaster in there.
It's a mess. Cleaning sucks. Cleaning is a different thing.
So
but I'm with you. I'm also pretty impulsive and dictated by feelings at times, right? I think those are like commonplace identifying factors of ADHD, right? Pretty impulsive. Emotional impulsivity, regulation, all that kind of stuff, and it's hard. Like in comedy, it's the same thing that you were mentioning. It takes so much time to re-energize, to get that full again. You talked about just having alone time and stuff like that. Are there any other coping mechanisms?
I love that. Stick with it. Yeah, your brain created that.
We're staying on copenisms.
Yep. It's the copenism section of the pod. Yeah.
We don't need the mecca part of that 2 words. Copenisms.
No. Leave out. I've always said that. Leave out the mecca. Okay.
Do you say that?
Yeah, that's a cut that. Yeah, no. Just we'll leave that. Just leaving copenisms. We'll just go with that.
We'll go with that.
Like, what are my copenisms or what?
You today, for example, what'd you do?
I did a bit of a morning workout. I just kind of wake up. I put on music that I like, really hype up music, actually. Which lately has been early 2000s crunk. I'm talking Get Low, you know. I'm talking it's going down at the club, and it's going down. You can hear it, right? You know what I'm talking about? Yeah, that's me. You know, I'm wall twerking, and I like to get a little pumped up, you know. And that's like, I don't know, meditation, I've realized, is like, it's not one thing. Like, it could just be whatever like takes your mind off of anything, you know. I once was in Austin. I lived in Texas for a little bit, and this guy was just huge into the rave scene, which like the type of rave scene where it's like you go to an abandoned CVS or something, like one of those. You go to a random warehouse where it was like used to be a fish market, and they just kind of turned it into a rave setting. And we were like headed there. We're about to get in there. We're all dressed up. We're all ready to go. And he's just like, dude, I can't wait to just get in there, dude. The rave is my temple. Like, this abandoned CVS is my fucking temple, dude. This is where I meditate.
Yeah,
and
this is prayer.
This is prayer. Yeah, no, this is midnight mass. And I went in there and I was like, I laughed at that. I just got so silly to like say rave is your, you know what I mean? It's like, I'm just who I am. It's like, I'm going to make fun of that a little bit.
Body of Christ as he's taking Molly.
Yeah, exactly. That's the what's that called? The communion or whatever. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, exactly.
I feel God.
Exactly. Preach, baby. Hit that beat. But we were in there, and it's like house music. So house music is like very like, but it's just that. It's like there's not. It seems like it's building to a drop that just never comes. And I always thought that was dumb too. But I was in there, man. I had taken the communion, and I'm just like vibing a little bit. And I get it because you're just listening to like a very rhythmic, repetitive beat. And you're closing your eyes, you know, you're fucking getting into it. And then at some point, like, you get lost in it and you feel like you're the only person there. And, like, you can look at other people and be like, oh, that person is, like, in their own world right now. They are not in this abandoned Red Robin with us right now.
Yeah. They don't need a tetanus booster right now.
They're not stepping on needles like the rest of us. They are floating above the clouds. But that like kind of opened my mind to like, yeah, okay, I get that. Just like any point where you feel like you're just in a space, you're just like the rest of the world melts away. Which I'm not saying I get like that when I'm listening to Lil Jon in the morning. You know? It's just me and Lil Jon. Yeah,
I'm at one with the John.
100%. Yeah, but like I feel the vibe and I'm like feeling good, and that's just a great way to start the day. Yeah, I feel like so. Exercise is a big thing for me there.
So, what's your exercise routine look like? Are you a lifter? Do you run? Do you do yoga? What's it like for you?
I'm a big runner. I'm a night runner.
A night runner.
Yeah. So,
have you ever run after a mic?
Like ride it. Yeah. I run after most mics, honestly, especially if it's a good set. Oh my God. I have so much energy after doing a set that like, that's my shit right there. Just me and Lil Jon just running side by side up on the sidewalk. Oh, that's the perfect nightcap. You know what I mean?
Dude, it kind of sounds appealing.
Yeah. It's so much fun. Yeah. That's been my thing for years. My knees hurt so bad, but like ever since I was like 15, 16, I've been running like pretty much every day. Running is my huge thing, and I'm not serious about it. Like I don't time myself. I'm just like, I'm gonna go up this hill, and then it kind of flattens, and I go up another hill, and then it's no hills for a little bit. Then it's, you know what I mean? So I like know my neighborhood and everything. And running at night, I mean, that's where the crazies come out too. So it's kind of interesting to see that. There was this guy I saw once. He was unhoused. He had like a Mad Max kind of vehicle set up on his shopping cart. Like it had a bunch of like metal thing sticking out, you know? Smart. It might be rough out there. I don't know. No one's gonna fuck with that guy. I sure as hell wouldn't. And I was running by, and I heard yelling out, just past my earphones, and I'm like, okay, let's just, I don't know, let's see what it's about. I get curious. I'm like, what's he talking about? I eavesdrop on people. He was only talking to himself, but I wanted to eavesdrop on that, on his conversation.
Probably more interesting.
It is, yeah. No, it's very interesting. And he was just like, hey, I see you. And I'm like, okay. And he's kind of looking over in my direction. He's like, I see you. And I was like, kind of in denial. I'm like, he can't be talking to me. And he's like, hey, I see you, tank top. I was wearing a tank top, and I'm like, oh shit, I'm tank top. That's me. And so I sprinted away. And that's the solace I find, is I've been a runner for so long. If there's any danger, any Mad Max shopping cart chases, I could probably outrun it. I'm confident in that.
Are you sure it wasn't like an Avatar style I see you? Like, I see you. I know your soul.
Oh, like a friendly, like I know you, we're friends in another life. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, is that what he was doing?
Maybe. I doubt it. The way his voice, the guttural sound, it wasn't friendly to me. It wasn't like we're on the same wavelength.
It wasn't a welcoming.
It's like, I see you and you might be a threat to me, and I'm gonna get you before you get me type of thing. You know what I mean? It was like a very abrasive, I see you, terrifying. But I'm quick, man. I'm very fast.
I believe. I like this whole approach of just like putting on your shoes and getting going, just running. 100%. I mean, is that, do you ever go on trips and see new towns that way?
Just like adventure? Actually, no, I don't usually do that. That's a good idea though. I should, because I mean, I do that when I'm running. Like, I'll like check out different parts of different like surrounding neighborhoods. Yeah. But for some reason, I feel like there should be more structure to an outing, which isn't always the case. I feel like, like if I'm going out, it's like we have a specific restaurant we're going to. Yeah. You know, But I'm looking around as we're heading to the restaurant. But are you saying like just let's go out downtown and see what's up in this particular
Well, a lot of
city?
comics that I know, will do that when they're in a new town. They're like on, going to see stuff around in another city, or they're doing shows in another city, and then they'll just go for a run in the morning. You know what I mean? Midday to see a little more of Albuquerque or whatever. And it's like,
For sure.
I've always loved that idea of like running to see a city I'm not super familiar with. But then
Yeah.
I get there and I'm like, I'd rather just have coffee and lunch.
Without the physical exertion.
Without
part.
sweating, because I'm so
Yeah.
sweaty. That's part of my thing, is I'm just
Sweaty,
such a
sweaty boy.
yeah, majorly sweaty all the time. So I'm not able to kind of just hop in and flow. Are you able? Is it easy for you to flow from one activity to another?
Yeah, I would say so, actually. I'm like pretty open-minded, but I usually, when I think of things, when I think about going on a run, it's like I'm doing this because I didn't get my cardio in this week or something, or I didn't get much cardio in, so I'm going to run for a long time.
Yeah.
And that's it. Like, that's my only thing on the docket in my mind. I'm going to run, and then I'm going to go out and grab a panini. I'm going to Postmates a panini when I get home.
Yeah.
Like, I set plans, and I'm actually pretty, like, almost OCD level, like, structured with it. I don't like to deviate that much, but I've been trying to change that a little bit. Like I stopped by a garage sale on my run this morning, I was checking out a bike, talking to some people,
Yeah.
But even that's kind of hard for me because I'm like, this wasn't part of the plan. You were just supposed to run and then get home and,
well, that keeps you going. It's not a bad thing necessarily to have that as part of what because structure is there when inspiration is not. So if you just are doing these things normally, you're like, no, this is what I do. I do it, 5 times a week, and then it's done or whatever. If you have to do that, I feel like that's like something I could benefit today. For example, I was like, we had this at 1:00. We're meeting at 1. We're chatting at 1. And I was like, maybe I'll work out before, maybe I'll work out after. And it was like 11 a.m. before I like got the inspiration to like be like, okay, I'm just doing it. I'm just gonna work out now. You know what I mean? I'm just gonna do it. So I'll feel better afterwards and I can shower and eat and blah, blah, blah and get on with my day. And I won't have to worry about it afterwards, that kind of thing. So sometimes it's just like, I just do it. I just do it because I know I'll feel better and then it'll be done and I can move on to other stuff. But
100%. And like running specifically, I always forget about the runner's high, like, because you're talking about like, because sometimes you're just so amped to do all your things, right? Like running, exercise, comedy, all that stuff. You're so amped to do it. Right. And then when you're not amped, you don't have that inspiration. It does feel, is that what you were kind of saying? Like structures for the lack of inspiration? Like,
totally.
It's just, and it feels like work. That's when it feels like work, all the stuff you enjoy but don't feel like doing. So but you always forget that it's like when you don't want to go out to like a party or a gathering or something. It's always so much fun when you're there, but leading up to it, it just, I don't know, at least me, I think of worst case scenarios.
I'm like, similar. I'm totally similar. And it's similar to the feeling before a show in some regards, before you're set, it's like, oh God, I got this big show. Even headliners feel that way. I was, doing a show with some Uncle Laser and he was like, nervous beforehand. He's like, oh man, I get these nerves before the show or whatever.
Right.
And he's like, once I get on stage, it's great and all, but like, it's like, oh yeah, even people who are like out there doing this on the road, you get those nerves. And I'm like, that's good. It shows that you care. It shows that there's something, on the line. And that is not only for comedy, it's also for socializing, right? It's
100%.
like, oh yeah, maybe I gotta be able to socialize decently, but I'm not always good at it either. Like sometimes I'm just so tired. My battery's so low at the end of the day. And there's a piece of advice. I'm sure I've mentioned it before, but it's, I think it's from Gary Goldman. And he said something about like, just go for an hour. Just even if you're not feeling like it, just go for an hour. Just go to the mic, go to the show, go to the place, go to the whatever for an hour, and then you leave and you'll be better. Right. And like nine times out of 10, I'd say that's the case. Even if 100%. I don't want to go, I just push myself out the door and do it eventually somehow.
Yeah. And then you're fucking in it and you're just flowing and everything. Yeah. So I get a lot of like, my stakes are pretty high socially, I would say. I have a lot of social anxiety, which is just annoying because like it's some people it's just, I don't know. I feel like it comes so easy to them. It's like, yeah, we're fucking going out, dude. We're we're gonna fucking hit it out of the park. We're just gonna go, and they're just like so pumped all the time, and just like people who can hang out for days on end, the hang all the time,
constantly.
Yeah,
Ooh.
but that's like the introvert kind of thing, I guess.
Exactly. Yeah.
So,
well, the extrovert is the one who likes that hang, who gets juiced up from the hang all the time.
needs that hang. Yeah,
exactly.
You know? Which there's pros and cons to both. I'm glad I don't need to be around people all the time to feel somewhat like my tank is filled. You know what I mean? Because being alone is sometimes how I fill that tank. It's like I'm a hybrid car, kind of. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I'm an inside-outside cat.
Right. There we go. Yeah. Sorry, I was trying to figure out my own analogy just then.
You're like a hybrid?
Well, because so wait, actually, yeah. So I fill up the gas. You know what I mean? Run out of gas, socializing. You know, I'm driving around, I'm seeing people and everything. And then when the car is idled, that's when I'm alone. I switch electric. And I'm re-energizing that way.
Plug in, yeah. I mean, it kind of is. That kind of makes sense if my brain's working right. I don't know.
Sure, I think so. Yeah,
I
don't. We'll put it
well,
that way.
We talk about these socializing things, and it was like that. We had you were a performer at Oregon Country Fair, and you were not only a performer, you were on one of the crews, right? You were working there this year?
Oh yeah, no, this was a really interesting kind of situation this time around. I shouldn't have even gotten an overnight pass. I shouldn't have gotten it at all.
But you did.
We made it work. My friend Zach, shout out Zach Hoffman on Instagram. Holla. So we have a booth. One of our other friends owns a booth, Raw Foods, but shout out Raw Foods booth on Instagram. Owns a Raw Foods booth, and we worked there for years. I've been to fair maybe 4 or 5 times for overnight, and that's what we were doing. Nice. We were just working with that crew, which is right next door to an Empanada booth, where we know the owner. He's super chill, super cool guy, and as a last-ditch effort to get in overnight this year, because we weren't doing Raw Foods booth this year, we're like, can we just camp with you? You know, can we just get in with you?
Yeah.
And he's like, yeah, man, yeah, totally, we could do it. And so we go out there. He says like, yeah, we'll get the tickets and everything, which I'm not exactly sure how it works, but like the owner of the booth is supposed to go up to the front desk, whatever, and like add us on there himself and everything. Yeah. He couldn't break away. So we basically had to go up there and be like, hey, this guy said that we were on the list, or we could be on the list. We were not on the list. And, these people, we're just kind of trying to charm them a little bit, because that's what was needed to like get in, you know what I mean? So to start talking a little smooth and everything. Ultimate vibe check. So I'm using material that I've written, you know, I'm hyping them up. I'm like, you guys are so you're playing the game a little bit. And it worked kind of. It was so weird. Like they're like, all right, you can call the guy. Just call the guy and he'll tell us who he wants on the list. And we call him and he's like, hey, what's up? And the person's like, okay, who do you want to add to the list? And he's like, all right, what are your guys' names again? So he asked us what our names were. Yeah. I'm like, oh, fuck. But it worked out. I'm like, Gene Kailiuli. He's like, yeah, Gene Kailiuli. And my friend Zach. And they're like, cool, that works. They just put the bands on. And then, and dude, we didn't have to help out with the empanadas. He just kind of was nice and let us camp with them. And so many nice people back there. But we decided to pitch in, make some empanadas. Best decision of the whole fair. I love making empanadas now. Really? It's so much fun. Yeah, it's cool. Yes. Do you know what I'm talking about when I say empanada? Have you had them?
It's like a turnover kind of
thing? Yeah, they got like the nice kind of like the crust. It looks like it's folded over and everything. And it looks like it's just like a pocket. And a hot pocket. A pocket of a hot pocket, if you will. If I could, white it up for us here. And so it's like pottery kind of, it's like ceramic. So you're like setting it up, you know, you put the little fork spokes in and then you have to poke in the holes, and we were allowed to kind of make it our own. So I was kind of doing a G because my name's Gene. So
sure it is.
I got really, I know that's what I mean. It sounds like, look at the empanada, Your Honor.
G, there's a G.
Gene, there's a G. There is a G. Let the record show. So that was just like an added unexpected like joy of the whole thing, like that we got in kind of against all odds. Like it was just all looking very down, because it's hard to get into fair. It's a pretty exclusive club, ironically, you know.
And I feel like that's reasonable, you know. It's like you want to, you know, keep the integrity of the event safe, and you do that by kind of restricting how many people can, you know, be a part of it sometimes.
And otherwise it's chaos, most likely, right? So it's good
Yeah.
to kind of curate that a little bit more. So I felt very lucky to be there in general, just because I knew that because of how hard it is to stay overnight at fair.
For sure. And that's the vibe that everybody wants, is that vibe of gratitude of like, oh man, I'm stoked to be here. I'm glad to be putting my own flair on this empanada. Now, was the empanada place the like shirtless place where there was a stand where everyone's like serving drinks in their like shirtless dudes and gals in bikini tops and things like that. Was that you?
Was the Hooters booth this year?
No, it was the lemonade. It was lemonade. There was like a lemonade and cheesecake place or something like this that just like had all these people scantily clad. They're like, come get some cheesecake, and I was like,
sexy lemonade cheesecake booth. Not a bad like way to bring in some eyeballs, right? Bring in some
absolutely
people.
Yeah.
That was not us though.
That wasn't you.
That was not us. We were all very shirted up. In fact, the owner was wearing like a suit and like suspenders and stuff. Not fun. I was like, how are you doing this? You know?
Yeah.
He wasn't sweating that much either. He was like, it just worked out for him,
The empanada.
Yeah, you gotta dress for the occasion, I guess. But he made it work. That was not us. But
So had you performed before? Yeah. I bet you'll get some ladies in there with your, showing off the pythons.
A little bit, yeah. A little bit.
I see you tank top.
Yeah, I know. I'm walking through the little water sprayers in slow motion.
Yeah.
I see you tank top. I never performed at fair. It was actually an honor to do it. It was so much fun. I've always dreamed about that. Every fair I went to, I'm like, oh, it'd be so cool to like, be part of fair because I'm performing.
Mm-hmm.
And oh my God, like, because that was just so much fun. Like what you guys put together and everything. And like the crowd was so into it.
Totally.
And it's such a high for me doing it. So like having that high at fair, because that's the thing too. It's such a like a social aphrodisiac for me doing stand up. Like afterwards, I feel like I'm just talking to every. I'm just fucking I'm going up giving massages to everybody out of nowhere. Dude. I'm like nothing can touch me. I feel like a true comedian, dude. But no, I just feel so much more sociable and I feel quicker and everything. And that's so great at fair because that's what it's all about. There's just you don't know who you're gonna run into. Like there were so many people I knew from years past that I was just so game to talk to.
Yeah.
So it was such a good combination of things that I love.
Were you on the Saturday show at Shea Ray's or Sunday at Spirit Tower?
Saturday. At Shea Ray. Yep.
Yeah, baby. What was your challenge? What'd you get?
I got so lucky. I got Happy Heckler.
Oh, Happy Hecklers. I love Happy Heckler. It's one of my favorites.
Yeah.
What did they shout at you?
Too.
It really is.
Well, they just shouted a lot of like great joke, really funny, love your sunglasses. They're like complimenting my appearance and everything. And when it first started, they were like on it. They were like ready to do it. Like they just wanted to be a part of it so much. Like right from the get go, I couldn't even get a joke out. People were just like tossing compliments at me.
Love it.
Yeah, which was great for my ego and everything. But like, I was like, oh my God. I was like not used to it. I was almost like, what the and like in my brain, it turns everything into sarcasm. You know what I mean? So people are like, good joke.
Nice hair.
Like, oh, he has a nice hair? Fuck you, dude. Fucking better hair than you. You got a receding hairline. And it's just because I'm like taking it up. There was one woman though who was just like, I like told something, just like a story about fair. It turned out to not be a joke. It had like no punchline or anything. It was just a little story. And she said good share. And I was just like, that hit me more than like any actual someone trying to be mean heckle. Like a cool story, bro, type of thing. Like,
it was the supportive, cool story, bro.
For sure.
Yeah.
But just like condescending, you come up here, you know what I mean? But I mean, that was so fun to bounce off of and everything. That was like, it made things easier, you know what I mean? And it's, I had never done that before, you know what I mean? I don't do many of the spinning wheel stand-ups or like stand up on the spot, which I'd love to do more, just more than traditional stand-up. So, and to do it at fair was a magical moment.
Yeah, I'm so glad. Good.
Yeah.
No,
Thanks for that, Rudy.
For sure. You were someone who like expressed enthusiasm to be a part of it. And that's what it's all about, right? It's about people who want to be doing it. I'm not like, I'm not paying people, you know what I mean? It's like, it's a show that I'm not getting paid. It's a show that we do because it's fun and it's fair and it's different. And it's like, I just want to infuse more fun into comedy. So it's like, and that I think limits, that's good and bad in some ways. It's a double-edged sword, right? Because I'm like always searching for fun, always trying to be having a good time in the moment, doing something that's unique to the experience we're having now. And that can then take away from my ability to plan or stick with a plan or get tighter with my material and that kind of stuff. That's one of the things I struggle with just as a performer in general.
Like keeping things loose, because that is a balance, right? Because you don't want to be too, I mean, did you go through phases in your stand-up where it was too structured, too written, and then that took out like the kind of fun authenticity of everything?
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah,
there is something that's lost when you're just on the script.
Exactly. Yeah, but you also want to feel like you put the work in to get the material tight, and like you know when you're getting laughs and stuff. That's what I've been actually struggling with recently, so I'm glad you brought that up. It's a tough balance.
One thing that I like to do then, I mean, is just prepare. You know, have that set list in place, have those 10 chunks right there. So then when you're like doing tangents, you can just get back on track. You know, so like have the structure, have the skeleton in place. But for me, that gives me the confidence to be able to go somewhere else, to foray into the woods unplanned. And so
100%.
So it's just like you said, it's tough to find the balance.
But I went into the fair show because I've kind of learned when I'm like, okay, I'm going to be a lot more structured for this. I'm going to be prepared for anything, you know, because if like someone shouts something out or whatever, because I used to be like way too structured in that, where like someone shouts something out, I'm like, that wasn't part of the plan for me.
Yeah.
Like you shouting that, I'm not going to bounce back from that because I have a set list, you know what I mean? I'm not stopping at the garage sale. I'm on a jog, and I'm gonna get home and eat at 12:15.
Right.
You know what I mean? So, but for the fair one, I'm like, sometimes I'm just like, I'm gonna go out and just have fun, you know, because I don't know what challenge I'm gonna get, and I'll just try to improvise, work that muscle, and that's when I have the most fun, to be honest. When I just get to be
totally
kooky.
Same. I like being in the moment, in the flow, but I also really admire and respect folks who can just do the act. You know what I mean? Just get on stage and do the jokes, do the material, do what they know they like to do. I want to feel the nerves. You know, I want it. Every set to me feels a little like a first date, which is both exciting and nerve-wracking. It's like the approach I try to take in a lot of realms is like, and I was talking with Tim about this yesterday. I'm like, I kind of am flirting with the audience. You know what I mean? Like I'm being charming. Like it's one of the few times when I can feel charismatic, because in day-to-day life, when you're going through just every day and the normal here and there, it's hard to be that sometimes, unless you're 100%. In a good spot and rolling along nicely. But it's like on stage, you're like, okay, I get 10 minutes of flirting time, essentially, because it's like, I would say these are all jokes I would want to be able to say on a date somehow. You know what I like? It's like, oh yeah, this is stuff that I could talk about. It's things that I'm interested in, and so it's like, I don't know if that's cool or not cool, but it's just kind of a vibe that I take with me on stage. Do you have something like that, or a mindset that you take with you on stage?
I agree with you that it is, because I go on a lot of dates, and like that's what I've realized is like the cross section. I've talked to Nathan Hart about that. He said something about like you don't want them to think that you care too much necessarily. Alpha brain fucking shit.
Alpha Nathan.
Alpha, yeah, we all know Nathan Hart is the biggest alpha in the comedy scene right now.
True alpha.
True. Just hardcore alpha. And I agree with that in certain cases. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because I think that like at least on stage, coming off like as I don't know, making them think you care too much could be turned into a lack of confidence, you know what I mean? And then like kind of like pleading in a way. But I think generally what he's saying is like playing it cool, kind of, you know, in a way where it's like I'm in control and like I'm just having fun up here, which I think is attractive and charming inherently.
That's they want someone that they're with to exude comfort in some way. And on stage, if you're uncomfortable, on stage is the ultimate like barometer of feelings for other people. They know how you feel. They can sniff how you feel from the moment you walk on stage. And if you're all meek and not sure what to do, you're not going to get a lot of laughs probably, unless that's part of the act, unless that's the thing you're trying to bring on stage and it's part of who you are.
Yeah, and you're not going to get a second date with that either. You know what I mean? Like, if you're kind of meek and just like, you know, because then it's like, okay, why would I want to? I mean, that's not very fun. You know, I feel like I'm driving the conversation, right? So it is a little dance you're doing with the audience, you know, just sitting in front of them, like displaying your kind of best self too. That's part of it as well. Or
right.
Your funniest self on stage, but also just your most attractive, best self on the stage, where you're just like running shit and just hoping they like it, but you're confident in yourself enough to make it seem like you don't care if they like it or not.
Yeah, and that's the weird part. You have to like pretend like you don't care, but
I care so much.
I care.
Yeah, we care so much.
I care.
I'm about to cry. I care so much.
We had one of the best experiences, run-ins at fair that I had this whole year. It was so great.
Yeah, it was wild. Yeah,
it was at a Reggie Watts concert. Where was this Reggie Watts?
This Reggie Watts concert was at a venue that I never expected to see Reggie Watts. It was the Ritz.
Yeah,
the big communal showers at the Ritz.
Oh yeah.
He was the only clothed person there.
Yeah.
Pretty incredible, right? Oh my God.
There were a few clothed individuals I saw.
Oh, for sure. But by and large, just a bunch of naked people enjoying some funny, really talented, just, I don't know, performance. It was amazing. Yeah. He was just playing music. It was amazing. I never experienced anything like that. And
it was so insane.
So we had some pretty good spots because it's like a giant crowd. There's a tiny stage in front of us. There's a bunch of naked people standing around. We were kind of on the right side in a really good spot because there's a bunch of shower heads just spewing out warm water everywhere. We were at a perfect spot where we could see Reggie Watts like very close.
We're like 8 feet, 10 feet away.
Yeah, we're right there. And but we had showers like right behind us.
Dude.
And so I'm just getting warm. We're getting wet and warm watching Reggie Watts. Which there's so many times I had to do like a mental double take where I'm just like, I've never experienced like a show like this before. This is so interesting.
It was so cool.
And I was just really enjoying myself. And then I heard a very familiar voice to my right. And I'm like, no way. I thought this might happen. I turn, and who is it? Rudy Tyburczy himself.
Boom.
Naked, dick out, we hug. It's a whole thing. Yeah. And that was a beautiful moment, too, because I'm like, man, this guy booked me for my very first show in Fair. You know what I mean? And now I'm hanging out naked with him, watching Reggie Watts.
Dude.
Dream
come true stuff.
It was really dream come true stuff. Yeah, 100%. And like, I mean, you're the first person in the scene I've seen naked.
Heck yeah.
I think that's pretty cool, man. I'm glad it was you. You have you have a friendly. You're just such a good vibe. I feel like
a friendly dong.
A friendly dong. You have a friendly, Which, by the way, very good dong, guys. I don't know how many people can speak to that, but you know, yeah. I mean, he loved Reggie Watts so much. I could tell he was rock hard. He was so excited. I'm like, are you excited for the show? And he just pointed down, and I'm like, that's awesome, man. That's fucking awesome. Yeah.
It was wild.
It was a special moment, though, right?
It was so nice. Yeah.
Well, I even asked you too.
Yeah.
I was like, you know, I'm seeing you naked. I'm like, okay, am I going to see Seth's dick now? Who else?
Yeah.
Which of my friends am I going to see naked out here?
Yeah.
Which is the beauty of the Ritz, right? Like, it's kind of like, who am I going to see naked? I never thought I would.
Absolutely. I saw like multiple members of the Y like in line to go into the Ritz at the Reggie Watts concert. You know, it's like people that I usually check in at the Y.
yeah.
And we're like going into the Ritz together. And it was awesome. You know what I mean? Like, didn't see him again in there. But it was like, and I've talked to like 5 or 10 people, between 5 and 10 people who were at that show that I didn't see. You know what I mean?
Which is kind of wild too. Yeah.
We're not looking at each other. We are, but we're not. You know what? Like in
Yeah.
there, it's like we're all naked. It's cool. You see a glance of somebody. Your elbow touches someone here and there,
But
and it's
in
just
a way, everybody kind of looks the same because of that. Like that's what I was
100.
thinking about the whole time. Was like, well, first off, how quickly it normalizes. Like 5 minutes in, I'm like, okay, we're all naked, we're all here, which I think
It's
is
all
just
good.
like a natural human thing where it's like
Totally.
you see the norm, and then you're like, okay, I'm also part of the norm. Everything's out. Like, so I felt so comfortable. You know what I mean? And it felt so freeing to be naked and just walking around a space. Dancing, dude, fucking bouncing around. Which, by the way, I did feel kind of bad. Well, this is kind of cool because there was a bunch of people in front of us. We were all standing at one point, and then at some point, like a bunch of people started sitting down, and I was at a level in the crowd where I didn't feel comfortable sitting down. Like I wanted to see Reggie Watts in full. I wanted him to see me. Which, by the way, he looked over. I was like front and center. I saw him glance down for a sec, which I think doesn't mean anything for my career necessarily. I mean, who knows? I could get an email. But anyway, my dick was like right next to somebody who was sitting down, this girl, and I'm like dancing and stuff, and I did get a little insecure. it's just like, you know. But like, what other place is that happening? There's not naked music festivals, you know,
dude.
So it was
so
such
cool.
a unique show experience. Yeah, and I'm like, only at Fair, man. It's such a beautiful, magical time.
Yeah, it really. A friend of mine who was also at that show, she was telling me how like she just sat down somewhere at one point and people started coming up to her with questions and like asking her to like help out with show stuff or for whatever reason.
Oh,
and she just sat in a certain place that made people think she was like able to help direct them. Yeah, like, and so and she's like, well, and eventually I kind of like put on a towel or something because everyone was like approaching me the whole time or whatever, and that seems totally reasonable, but it's just like like you
said, that's why I thought people were approaching her because she was naked just like everybody else.
She was for a while for sure.
Sometimes you see someone in a Walmart that's dressed a little Walmarty and like it looks like they work there, but
she was the right kind of naked for people to approach.
I guess so. She was like it was naked cat. I don't know, like business naked, or I don't know. She just had that look on her face that's like, I know shit about where to go. And like, it's pretty interesting.
It was definitely one of those. That was my one like FOMO thing, essentially. And it wasn't even FOMO. It was just like, I have to do the show because I have to go to the show. I wouldn't normally. I'm not like a late night guy. It was at 12:30 at night, and it's like. I'd probably be home, but I'm like, I don't know if he'll ever do this again. Like seeing Reggie Watts at a friggin' nude sauna, like, heck yes, sign me the freak up. Yeah. And then dude, oh my gosh, you're taking a shower, you look up, you see the friggin' trees, you're like,
I did that so much.
Hearing original Reggie Watts stuff around.
Oh my God.
200 nude humans here for love and joy.
Right. Oh. The way, I know exactly what you're talking about. That filled me up so fucking much. And there were so many times where in my Gen Z brain, I was like looking around. I'm like, I want to take a picture of this so fucking bad. Dude. I have to capture this and spread it to the world. And then whenever I do that, I don't know if you do this too, but like I gaslight into thinking that like I don't need to take a picture. I'm just like, you know what? This is for me. And I'm just like, I don't really mean it, but I'm like, this is just for me. It's just a way to like get rid of that compulsion to take a picture. And then it became real and authentic. And I'm like, I don't even care. Just the fact that I'm standing here right now, just surrounded by a bunch of naked people. I got warm water hitting my calves. And like that opening song was such a vibe too. It was like very beatboxy and like kind of like hip hop. And I was just like, I just couldn't help but dance. And I'm looking up and looking at my surroundings while listening to great live music with like a comedian I respect. Oh my God. Yeah. I didn't need to take a picture. I didn't need it for the gram. I just needed it for right up here. It's still
in the old noggin.
Well, he was at Fair. Was it his first time just last year? Was that his very first time performing or? Okay.
No, I actually met him 1 year prior in front of the Ritz. My friend Jorah and I, who's a guest on the pod, friend of the show, Jorah LaFleur, we're chatting about him my first night ever at Fair.
Yeah.
We're walking around. 5 minutes later, we see a man who looks exactly like Reggie Watts, and we're like, there's no way we were just talking about Reggie Watts. And then he's right here.
What are the odds?
And then like we're right in front of the Ritz, and we stay past the Ritz, and she's like, I gotta go talk to him, see if it's him. And she did. 30 seconds later, he looks over at me, he points, he walks over, and we're like hanging out half of the weekend.
So cool.
That was
That's
the
so
first
awesome.
night I ever had at Fair. And then like to go see him then perform a year later at that very place inside was friggin' amazing. Oh my gosh.
Yeah. Did you see him after it all? After this after the show?
I didn't. No,
sure,
not this time.
Yeah.
Jorah was hanging out with him, but it was just like, oh my gosh. And like we met Medusa, like hip hop legend Medusa at some point in the weekend. We met Moshe Kasher. Do you know Moshe Kasher?
I do. You were telling me that at the Ritz. And
it was insane.
It's like, holy shit, man. Yeah, that's so fucking cool. The people you meet, it's
Dude,
incredible.
I got big dreams for the future of comedy and comedians at Fair, what I'd like to do, who I'd like to incorporate into it and stuff like that over the years. I see a real big place for comedy to, be a part of Fair because our shows were packed. Yeah. Those shows were slammed.
Sure. Yeah. That was so impressive to me. I don't know how you guys pulled that off. I think people just wanted to see comedy, or I don't know if you advertised it super well. I don't know if you were walking around
nope.
Because I was like I wasn't jaded, but like I had so many shows where just barely anybody was there. So I'm always expecting for the worst, you know what I mean? And I was still going to have fun, obviously, but I was expecting people to clear out after the musician and everything. But no, dude, people were there to laugh. And I think that's the perfect place for Fair. Because I mean, it's just such a joyful, festive time.
Dude,
comedy definitely, has a place in that
ecosystem.
In that ecosystem, good word. Yes, 100%. I think it can thrive.
I'm excited about it and what it could be in the future, and you
should have big dreams about it. I think that there's a lot of potential there. I think it has legs. Also, I want to say, I don't know. Can I talk about drugs on here? Is that okay?
Sure. Yeah.
I mean, I went to Fair. I mean, that's a part of Fair for me because it's just there's so many beautiful things to look at. Why not be tripping at it? Giant butterflies that are just like transluminescent, like that's the structures. And I was in the Ritz. I was on acid. I didn't know if you could tell.
I couldn't,
but I could. Yeah. And I was walking around, and I haven't done acid since I was like 22. I'm 26 now, and I was just going through this loop in my head, just kind of tripping. Oh shit, is that my name on a whiteboard?
Yeah.
Fuck yeah, it's official. That's me. Yeah, you spelled the name right.
Yeah.
But I kept on falling into this loop where I was just completely impressed by just the structural ingenuity of the Ritz, because it is impressive, right? I was just looking at all the shower heads, how much water's coming through, and we're like out in the middle of the woods. But the structure's so well built. So I was looking, I'm like, who fucking contracted this, man? Like, who put this together? Just like, I was thinking, just completely logistically the entire time, which I thought that was just that was silly. I feel like that's kind of funny that like, I went to the sauna. There's literally two dudes playing didgeridoos, like next to a pregnant lady.
Yes.
Just playing like on top of, did you see that?
In the dry sauna, it was wild in the dry sauna that night. It was nuts.
Such a vibe switch in there. Yeah. People are,
Yeah, I walked in a big chant moment, and it felt like Midsummer.
That's what I was saying.
Yes, I went in there and I was like, ooh, wow. I like just like, yes.
Right?
I hurried over. Hurried over to the side, and then they just started going off, and I was about to laugh, and I was like, I shouldn't. I gotta go.
I can't get in that headspace where I can't laugh at that for some reason. I was telling my friend, I was walking around, I was just seeing people just getting so down and like playing drums, because people are so free at Fair. That's what it's all about. But I'm like, I don't think I could ever be that free. I don't think I could ever unironically go. Even that was like a ghost. That was like a Scooby Doo.
You
like,
did
that's
sound.
the vibe I bring.
You're gonna take a mask
in the sauna.
off.
Yeah, exactly. But I respect people who do that. I respect people who dance at Planet Fitness. I don't know if you've ever seen that. I see that at Planet Fitness a lot. People do that at Planet Fitness.
I love it.
People are like doing that more than working out, which it is good cardio dancing. Don't get me wrong, but just the freedom, just to block everybody out and just like do your thing like that is just such a beautiful thing of Fair. I don't know how I got on that, but I was Same headspace there. I was just like, well, it was me like looking around, like, what kind of wood is this that it's not like all dry rot? That's like logistically.
And then you hear all of these chants
like,
and things.
Wait, is this a cult? Yeah, it completely took me to a different place after that. Stopped thinking logistically. I'm like, okay, is this a cult? But the didgeridoos were new. I'd never seen that. I love a didgeridoo.
Yeah,
sick.
It was like 8 foot long. It was huge.
They're so long, man. Oh my god, that pregnant lady's baby is gonna come out so fucking cool, dude. He's coming out so chill.
They're gonna be the president of fair immediately.
They are. Yeah, they're gonna have it all. They're fair baby.
Dude, I'm seeing a lot of. I'm at the age where I'm seeing a lot of people who are having their fair babies. You know, like a friend I saw last year and her husband. Last year I saw him and they're like, "Oh, we're married now. We got married in a, ceremony in the woods." And this week, like, she comes up and a kid is literally eating from her boob. And I'm like, "Oh yeah, that's the correct next step. Good job."
Yeah, that's how it goes.
And
Very
as
common.
normal as it is, as normal as I believe it is, it's just like you can't act fully normal. It's so hard to do. And even if I'm just having a normal conversation, it always sounds forced or weird, or like I know their boob is out, and it's like, of course everyone knows this.
100%,
You dumb idiot.
Yeah. I mean, if it was like the Ritz where everybody's breastfeeding, then that it would be the norm, so it'd be normalized. But it's just one woman with her boob out and a baby, and it's I've never been in that situation, so I wouldn't know what to do. Any tips or tricks? Just
keep
plow
talking.
through, just act like it's not a.
Ask if the other one's available. No.
Me next? Should you make a joke or whatever?
Yeah.
Can I hit that next? That's probably not. I'm gonna go ahead and just say that's probably not the move.
Probably not.
Yeah. If you're gonna acknowledge it, don't say that you'd like to suck on the titties. Well, yeah.
Although I have a bit about not having seen a boob for a while, and like I saw like 1,200 boobs at fair.
I heard you saw a boob recently. Big titty gaming.
Yeah. Where did you hear this? How did you hear this?
She told us.
Oh, really?
She's like, I showed that guy a boob. Yeah, you were leaving because after the show, we had a show on Wednesday.
Yeah.
And, this girl, she came up and gave us a bunch of joints, and I think you were saying goodbye to us. She's like, yeah, show that guy my boob, which I didn't know. I didn't see your set, so that you brought that up during your set.
Yeah,
Good move, Rudy.
I talk
this
about
got big brain.
And so, like, I didn't know what to do afterwards. Like, because I was like saying goodbye to all y'all, and then I'm walking away. I don't know her. She looks at me and she goes, "Hey," and then she just like pulled out her tit and just like showed.
Hey, you tank top, yeah.
Hey,
yeah, hey, you.
It was very
that was
different
the best
than
case scenario for that situation. Yeah.
It really was, and I didn't know what to do. It's like I saw a boob in the wild. That's a tit on the street. You don't
That's
expect
very rare,
to see.
dude.
You don't expect a tit on the street. And there was metal through it. She was metal, and like she just
that's sick.
Took it out, and I don't think I even could say anything. If I did mutter something, it was either like it was one of these two words.
You muttered,
"Whoa."
Gulp.
It was either whoa or cool.
Wow,
like those were
cool.
my and then I raised my fist in the air. And I walked away.
That's so funny.
That was like Trump getting shot in the ear, you know? It's like me seeing a boob.
Yeah.
I'm like,
wait.
best day ever.
Yeah, the crowd goes wild. That's incredible. I guarantee you said both. You said, whoa, cool.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's fucking incredible. Yeah, it's you getting shot in the ear. Oh my god. Yeah. What do you do in that situation? I think you say awooga, maybe. You let out one of those. Yeah.
My jaw was on the ground. Yeah. My mouth was fully agape at that
because there was
point.
no preamble either, right? There was no like.
She was aggressive. Beforehand. No, I didn't know who she was. She's like, hey, she wanted my attention. And I was like, okay, great. That's the first part. What's the next part? Wouldn't have guessed the boob. But
Wow.
good
Going
job.
from hey to boob. That's good job, dude. Yeah. That's fucking incredible. You should be
Yeah,
proud of yourself. You
it was
got
very nice.
a boob out of the night. That was so funny.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I talked about that last night at a clean show, and they loved it. Oh my gosh,
Yeah.
people do not like
Boobs are
clean
clean.
comedy. People
Yeah, I
don't
know.
want comedy. I asked, it was in Coburg, historic Coburg. It was pretty fun. And I was like, this is supposed to be a clean show. How do y'all feel about clean comedy? And the whole crowd booed.
Yeah.
They all booed. I was like, okay, well, great. Now we know. There was
People want
one
that hard shit.
yeah, they won something, but it was fun. And I feel hashtag blessed to have been shown a boob in response to a joke I told. That is that was not the intent, but now that it's in there, it's part of my brain now. It's like,
right.
oh,
If you're ever feeling like, if it's like, you're fiending for some boob, you just throw that joke out there. You're not expecting, they don't owe you anything, right? But hey, they want to throw a brother a boob.
That's my tip jar.
You earned it. You wrote the joke.
I'll take a silver dollar.
Yeah, there you go. Is that what you're calling them? Yeah, silver dollar.
Yeah,
it's incredible. Yeah, that doesn't happen very often at all. So I mean, and that's comedy, guys. That's what you get sometimes. Did you go? It'd be funny if she asked you to sign it. That's one of my bucket list things is to like be asked to sign a boob. I think that'd be kind of cool.
I love. There's this Zach Galifianakis joke. I'm gonna kill it. I'm gonna murder it in some way. He was like, my grandma asked me to. No, he's like, someone asked me to sign their boobs. It was my grandma, but it was hard because I did it in pencil.
The pencil part's really funny, but
it's
like,
ridiculous.
Why grandma?
I don't know.
That's silly. Yeah, he's very alternative comedy. I didn't realize that actually. I thought he was more of a traditional stand-up, but he's quirky.
No, he was like godfather of alt comedy. Have you seen Live at the Purple Onion?
I've seen some of that. Yeah, I think I watched like the beginnings of it.
I would say,
is that where he's playing piano, or did I watch something else?
He plays piano a lot, but Live at the Purple Onion was Netflix's first comedy special that I can think of that they like made for Netflix, and it's at a small venue, super inspirational to me. But you watch it, and you're like, oh, this is doable because. He's also so singular. Galifianakis is so himself, and he's spawned countless imitators. You know what I mean? And I really leaned hard into the drunk bearded guy for the first 5 years of my comedy, but it's like that's not me. I was just trying to find a thing, and that's what I stuck to the most easily.
Yeah, and it seems like that's what he got down is like the types of jokes and like his delivery and his demeanor, and he got his character down so well, and then that's carried him for all the movies he's been in too.
Yeah,
I think that's what we all hope for. That's what I love about comedy too. It is like finding yourself in a way, or finding an aspect of yourself, because it's all about just like optimizing, your most comedic self, I guess, but also your most authentic, something that people will believe.
Totally.
Yeah. It's so hard though, because I'm 26. You're like 30, 38, right?
I'm 40.
40. Okay, not to put I don't know if that's public record. Bro, you look great, dude. I had no idea. I thought you were like close to 40 or something because somebody told me.
Yeah.
Do you feel like you have it all figured out? Like at some point, does it click?
Dude, I live in the backyard of my mom's house.
Okay. Yeah.
Does it all click? Unfortunately,
is that the move?
Yes.
Is that the best? Is that having it all figured out? Maybe it is,
Dude, I'm not mad about having free time with cats. I'm not mad about spending time with my mom as she gets older. I'm not mad about those things. I'm not mad about helping people have good workouts. I'm not mad about helping people laugh at comedy shows. I'm not mad about any of that stuff. Do I have it all figured out? Fuck no, of course not.
What does that even mean too? Like,
you're touching on something really important though. Comedy forces you to write, and when you write, you find yourself, right? You find more of who you are, and so by just continually doing it, eventually what you do and what you say are going to align more and more with who you are, and so then you are going to come out naturally on stage if you give it that effort, if you give it that like honest attempt at being vulnerable, at being yourself, at connecting with an audience in a way that only you can do, because that is ultimately our job. I'm not trying to sound like I'm one of a kind, but we all are. Everybody's one of a kind.
Yeah.
And so you can figure out these little ways to have interesting takes on hack material. That's what the beauty of comedy is. It's
I love it when that happens too, by the way. That's so great. Where
there's
you
500 jokes on this, and I added my part to it.
Right. Like dating, but some people have just some of the unique, like out of left field dating, whatever's, but that's like it's like, I mean, that's technically a hack premise, right? Because so many people do that type of humor. But I used to have a thing where like I would go to these mics, like when I was very first starting out, and I would have my set and everything, like very structured. And then I would see other people's set. I'm like, fuck, I should do what they're doing. That's real comedy. I just had very low self-esteem when it came to my material.
Right.
And so I'm like, okay, I need to write more like that. And that would fuck me over because that person is them and they're doing what they do, and it's not going to work with me necessarily. So that's, if there's any advice I could, for what it's worth, it's like, just do what you feel is funny for you. Right. Because
totally,
you can't fucking do other people's stuff.
But also when you're starting out, when you're not quite sure how to write or trying to get through a writer's block or whatever, just copying not the words but the style or the mode of somebody else, essentially mimicking what somebody else is doing in your own voice, is totally reasonable, because that does help you get to the place that's more yourself, and you're like, oh, maybe I can tweak it this way, or maybe I can have it be more my own, but I like that thing I got from Nathan, or that thing I got from Chad Hurst, or whatever the case may be. Because there's always something that's why one of the reasons I do this podcast too is like, what can I learn from Gene? What can I learn from anybody else who wants to talk about comedy and health and that kind of stuff? So it's fun to go on that journey.
Right. Being open to that feedback too. I feel like it's so easy to like be so precious with your own stuff that like, I don't know, or even taking feedback on, I've gotten so much like, where I'll tell a joke that, like, for example, I used to have this joke where I'd say that like bisexual girls, I don't know if you've heard this, but like bisexual girls like me because they want somebody who has a dick but still has like a vaguely lesbian face to look at. And I did that joke for a while. And it would get laughs for a while, and then like they started slowly petering it out. I don't want to put it all in the mustache I'm growing. I don't want to, hype myself up too much. I think it's coming in pretty good. I like how it's showing today. It's showing up on screen. You can it's visible. Me too. I like it too. And the jokes just started like not working as well. And then a comic came up after me, and she's like, "Yeah, they didn't get any laughs because it's not true. You don't look like you have a lesbian face." But you're like, oh, she was lying to you, bud. She was, but I don't know. That was just like her perception of me. That's just like a little example of like, oh, okay, I thought I did have a lesbian face, but maybe the audience isn't seeing that. So you have to take that into account, like how you come off.
It's so hard to be like accurately self-aware because there's 50 strangers, and you're like, how do these 50 people I don't know see me right now? Exactly. And if it's not this like glaringly obvious thing, then it's hard to get that in there. And that's why building an audience is so important and so helpful to a comedian, because then people come out having an idea of who you are and what you bring to the table already. Yeah. So they're going to be on board with some of that self-deprecation or that whatever, like because they know who you are. But if it's like straight out of the gate, brand new face, never seen you, you have to be pretty on point with those jokes.
Oh yeah, for sure.
And that's super hard.
It's so hard. Yeah. And I'm pretty self-deprecating. Most of my material is pretty self-deprecating. I kind of put myself down quite a bit. And a lot of that comes from, honestly, people have told me like just forever. And I don't mean to like, that like the modeling agency's that way. I've had that someone say that shit to me. You're too attractive to do comedy. One time I did, and this is completely me smelling my own farts, but I had a really good set in Infinity Room, and a guy went up after me. I was just like, hey, all right, fuck that guy. Great set, dude. You're an ultrasound tech. You're hot and you're funny. So good, great. Give it up for that guy. He was just like being very sarcastic about everything. So I feel like I have to be self-deprecating in a way so I don't come off, because you never want to come off as like better than the audience. Not that like being attractive or whatever means that, but I feel like you have to knock yourself down a peg. I don't know. It's like a likability thing. so many dudes do not like me.
I get
And
it.
women, to be fair. Yeah.
A lot of people. I'm not very liked.
A lot of people just don't like me.
Dogs don't either. Weird.
Yeah, they get and they're pretty good judge of character. The judge of character. Yeah, I have been attacked by many dogs.
Really?
For real? Yeah, we could get into that. What were
You have a
say?
you have a scared vibe.
Multiple.
No, I'm
multiple dog attacks.
I've been asked similar thing. My sister was like, "Are you like too handsome to do comedy sometimes?" Like, and it just in this way that I'm not like this schleppy guy that's doing whatever. You know, I could give a fuck.
I felt like
I
you
work
relate.
out. Yeah, and so it's like I have a good body, you know, and so it's like that doesn't always lend itself to comedy, but at the same time I have the same insecurities that fucking everybody has, you know what I mean? I don't always love my body. I'm not always comfortable with how I look or feel or what I can do. Like, that's not realistic for anyone, even somebody like me who does care so much about health and does dedicate so much time, energy, resources into health. But it doesn't mean you feel good all the time, right?
100%.
Visible abs, invisible scars. That's the thing.
That's beautiful. Oh my god. Put that on a shirt.
I say it. People don't like it yet. I'll figure out. But again, it's like in that chunk that I have right now about like health and being in shape, I'm really trying to make it more accessible. And it's not always like the biggest laughs or whatever, but it's stuff I care about and I want to make funny. So I'm going to keep trying, you know. It's like, these are the things I want to talk about. It's essentially that, again, you know, advice I've heard from Goldman or Ted Alexandro. These types of comedians have said stuff like, write jokes about what you would want to see a joke about. Are you a huge fan of surfing? Write 10 surf jokes today. Or do you love staplers? Write 10 stapler jokes, right? You know what I mean? Just like write the jokes about the shit that you want to see told. What would you pay money to see jokes about? And then write
what do you care about? Yeah, because people can tell when you're like really into something, and that's sometimes even funnier. Like the dumber it is, or like the smaller it is, like the amount of passion you put into that. Like, oh, my stapler's just the way they keep shit together. You know, it's like funny that someone is so passionate about that, and it's endearing. And I love that type of stuff. You know, when someone, oh my god, I really want to have a thing where like, dude, this guy's got a whole like 20 on gravy or something, you know, like Jim Gaffigan's got a whole like 30 on Hot Pockets or something. Like I want to have a whole like a way too big of a chunk, because I love it when that becomes part of the joke, where it's just like, why is he talking so much about this, you know? And it's beautiful to me, but I'm still figuring out like kind of what I like enough to talk about. I know what kind of jokes I want to talk about, and honestly I like being self-deprecating. I feel like that's because I have a big insecurity about like just telling jokes that I'm sure somebody else has come up with before, you know? So that's why I like kind of steer away from current events and stuff, because I feel like there's just smarter people out there who can make better jokes. But the weird, awkward situations I find myself into are so unique to me that's like my form of self-expression. Is something that jokes that nobody else could do, because they just happen to me.
And there's value in that. I think there's also value in writing things that everybody else is writing about. You know, I think Morgan Murphy say something about how she would like tweet current event jokes and then watch the late night shows to see if any of the jokes that she wrote showed up. Not like straight from her tweets or whatever, but if they were out there in the ether of like, here's a Biden joke that's being written. Do I have the chops to potentially write for show X, Y, or Z? And so that's smart. That's one of the things that I do like about having unique takes on mundane stuff or run-of-the-mill stuff or hacky type stuff, because everything's been said, but I haven't said everything. That's how I put it in my head. It's like, how can I put it through this meat grinder up here to spit something out that is unique to me? What is Rudy's?
You know your quotes from this podcast? Have you just like been like piling up like really baller, like really good succinct quotes throughout this whole thing? Or are these just off the dome?
A couple of those are mine that I have that I believe in, you know, and they're kind of like things I keep in mind when I'm writing, when I'm working. Yeah, good. Because it's like, oh yeah, it's like I don't have to let those things hold me back the way they have held me back. I'm always all about like trying to remove barriers, right? We're trying to remove barriers between us and what we want. So that happens in the gym. How? By making it easier to work out. Bring your clothes, put on your tank top under your work shirt, have your protein shake ready, bring your bottle, have a bag in your car. You know what I mean?
Yep.
How does that work on stage? Getting rid of my fear of failure, or being okay with being hack, or just having fun. Like, how can I remove all of this bullshit that I put in my own way to stop me from doing the things I want to do? And that's
100%.
ultimately feels so good when you're like, oh, I am able to flow into the next thing. I am able to move on and write a joke in a new way. I can make this stronger. I can talk about that thing. I can challenge myself to talk to that person outside of comedy, you know?
Right.
And so getting yourself in the places to do that is the biggest task, right?
Yeah.
So
it's hard.
That's where the energy regulation comes into play. It's like, how
100%.
can I make it so I am able to be in the zone I need to be in for this particular thing? And that comes with planning too, right?
Yeah,
you
everything
got to pre-plan.
You said about like making sure you got your protein shake ready and everything. I have all that. Like I work from 8 to 5 every day, so I gotta like eat lunch at 3, so I have enough food in me to work out right after work. And then, you know, and I do like an hour and a half workout at Planet Fitness. Shout out Planet Fitness. I'm just dancing wall twerk for, you know, wall twerk for a good 10. Yeah, 3 reps.
The lonk alarm is from your badonkadonk.
It is, yeah. It's from my ass just clapping way too loud. Yeah.
I saw you in the sauna. You got them cheeks.
Yeah, I got the cheeks. Yeah, you too, buddy. Hey, just 2 cheeked up boys here. But yeah, the planning and everything, and just like I know what I need to do to get to the place that I want to be, you know what I mean? So like I know how I'm gonna time this out. I'm gonna have 30 minutes to eat, and then I want to have time to digest before I go off and do an open mic, because I know that I'll be tired if I eat too soon to the, you know, close to the open mic, and I can't be tired on stage because that's not my vibe. I'm not, you know, I can't come at it with, I'm not a low energy, you know, kind of guy. That's how I, you know. So it's like I've like learned to accept certain things about myself, and just like accept that I'm going to be doing this for such a long time. Like I've quit comedy like 5 times, and I always kept on crawling back. Like there was a period in Texas where I took like a whole year off, and because I was just scared. I was just like, I don't belong in comedy. I can't do this, you know, just like all that stuff. I'm sure a lot of people kind of think about, but I stayed in and I did it. I didn't do it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I was just eating, and I don't know if like I've talked to you, opened up to many people about this, but like there was a time where I was just eating Cinnabons every single day, just nonstop, just like Postmates, just
that was
laying
your
in
thing.
bed. That was my thing, man. That was just, it was eating 2. I would like order 2 big Cinnabons. I'm like, I'll eat 1 now at 2 p.m. Then I'll eat 1 after dinner later. And
that's
I'll
the
eat
life.
In 1 sitting.
But
I wasn't doing, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I was just chasing that center, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
just, like,
chasing
nonstop.
the cinnamony dragon.
Addicted. It actually was so bad. Like, and I was just like not working out at all. And I was just, that was probably like when I was at my worst, just like not doing anything. And
how'd you get out?
You just go crazy after. I feel like you get so tired of being comfortable. I was just so chronically comfortable, which COVID kind of got me into that, like not going out socializing, and I just didn't want to feel pain, you know, like social rejection or comedic rejection, just not doing well on stage. But I've realized after that, like, it's so much better just to feel that pain of like just fucking it up, you know, flubbing it with a girl, flubbing it in general. Because every time you go out, there's a chance you won't flub it up and you'll do really well. And those days are amazing. And that's what you go for. So
they're worth holding on to.
They're worth holding on to. So the stage is my new Cinnabon. Is my new Cinnabon, you know. I'm in Cinnabons Anonymous. I'm taking the
Cinnabon Anonymous.
Yeah, Cinnabon Anonymous. Yeah. Are you spiraling? Are you in a spiral?
Are you in a cinnamony, sugary spiral?
Yeah, they make it sound delicious.
Yeah,
are you in a frosting filled cinnamony?
Are you ready to dive into the center of the cinnamony spiral?
Yeah. So I found like the new gooey center of myself, I feel like, and it's like, and now I've like accepted that, I've quit so many times and I've come back because there's nothing else like it, in my opinion. It just feels so good to do it, that I'm like, so it's like accepting what you're just going to be doing this. So even when you're having a bad day, like it's not the end of the world because you're always going to be doing this no matter what. So your feelings shouldn't dictate whether you go out or stay in or not,
Yeah, it's weird because I'm a big feeler and a believer in feeling of your feelings, but also you got to tell them to shut up sometimes and just go do something, don't listen to your feelings all the time.
Acknowledge the feeling without it taking control, right?
Yeah.
And do you think that's healthy still? I feel
of course. Yeah, that's how we should.
Acknowledging it and then denying it is maybe the wrong way to
go. I guess I was looking at myself with some harsher eyes than maybe was necessary in that last quote. But I guess the point is I don't always want to let my feelings dictate what I do or don't do. Yes, I want my feelings to play a role, but I'm not always feeling up to doing stuff, and I should probably just do it instead, and just to kick myself out of it. And that work is a perfect example of that. You're not always feeling at your best when you're starting your work day, but guess what? You don't really have time to wallow in anything when you're there. You just got to do your shit and move and help people however you can.
Yeah.
I'm loving this convo, and there's a lot of things that have left my head multiple times throughout, which is great. That's a good sign. I think that's a good sign. But one thing I did want to kind of like, and this is kind of similar to the typical question I ask at the end, but like, if you were going to give yourself some kind of like criticism, like, or things that you want to work on, be it in comedy or in health, what are those things, or what are those aspects that you'd like to get better at?
I guess, I think just getting my self-discipline up a little bit more, and I don't know, just learning to just like let myself enjoy certain things, because my brain does this thing where I get 5 minutes of like a honeymoon period after what I thought was a success, and then it's like an imposter thing where I'm just like, okay, but wait, no, like that's just because you're right after it, it's like you're in the honeymoon stage. Now let's start poking holes. Now let's start figuring out what went wrong and like what was the worst.
Why should you feel bad?
Right. Okay, wait, you're gonna have to feel bad about this. Let's figure out how. It's like I'm like reverse engineering my happiness, or I don't, in a way, I don't know if that makes my sadness. Thank you. Yes. So I guess just being like, just letting myself feel good about things for longer, you know what I mean? Being proud of myself more. I think like, getting into the affirmations and everything, which, oh my God, I've done that a couple times. It sucks. I hate it. It just feels so dumb to me, just writing down. It's so forced and just like weird in a way, but I don't know if that's because of, I don't know. You could relate to that, right? Is that like a thing? It's like hard to be nice to yourself.
It's not easy at all. And rather than affirmations, sometimes what I do is I post questions around, like my one right here. It says, what would this look like if it were fun? So if you're ever down in the dumps, if you're doing something that you hate, or you're just gritting your teeth to get through, ask yourself that question. Think about it for just a moment. What would this look like if it were fun? Okay. And I like that. Another one that I like is, who do I want to be? Who do I want to be today? How do I want to show up for others? What skills do I want to get better at? Those kinds of questions help propel me rather than drag me back.
100%.
So when I frame them in this yes you can way, I find that takes me to a better place than if I'm like, I really got to work on this, and that's pretty commonsensical if you think about it. But stalking yourself with a couple questions like that when you're in potentially a spiral, when you're about to get to that ooey gooey center, when you're excited to go just dive into it,
yeah, you gotta be careful with those types of phrases, Rudy. I'm still recovering. You gotta be
trigger warning.
Just Postmacing.
Yeah, you're
Today's
like
the day I
texting,
relapse.
posting. Oh shit, I'm
Yeah.
back. I'm back. They're like,
I'm
we
back.
knew it.
Oh
Yeah.
God, dude.
Here's your rewards points.
Right. I give them my chip instead of
Yeah. Your chocolate chip to them. Yeah.
yeah.
So those, I totally empathize with all of that challenge of like feeling like this. I've thought I was never funny as recently as of 2 weeks ago. You know what I mean? It's like, oh, I'm no good at this, or this sucks. And usually that's the hunger talking, or depression, or tiredness, or fatigue, or whatever it is. But I honestly do try to keep those things in mind. Or like when I read a set list, I'll write, what feeling do I want to imbue this set with? So like just on the page, like if I want it to be joy, if I want it to be curiosity, if I want it to be flirtation or whatever. Because when you got 3 to 5 minutes to do comedy, when you put a feeling in it towards the others, I think it comes through.
Yeah. And also just like more of a concise answer on my part is like, because there's so many times when I feel bad, I just wallow in it and I feel like it'll last forever. It's very like maybe immature version of or part of my brain where I just feel bad. I'm like, I'm not going to be funny forever. This feeling, because I feel unfunny, that's lasted forever now. I'm not funny anymore. You know, I'm not attractive. I don't feel attractive. I'm never going to be. Yeah, I'm ugly now. So I'm like, how do I live as an ugly person now? I guess I'll be better at comedy. Maybe I am funny. You know what I mean? But like knowing that the feeling will go away, you know, and just knowing that I'll have a good show the next time. This one was bad, but I'm going to keep on doing this for so long that there's statistically going to be a next show. I think very logistically about it. And I'm going to feel that good feeling, which is not too far in the rear view, you know, because there's like sometimes the depression comes up like 2 days after feeling on top of the mountain, you know? And those days I'm thinking like, how did I ever feel good about myself ever? It's just very bad. Why did I ever let myself feel like that? But that's what I'm saying is, I guess just let yourself feel how you're going to feel and accept it for that moment, you know, but just just keep an open mind and know that you're going to have a high again at some point. Cause that's all it is. Totally. Highs and lows. And the one makes you appreciate the other. And it's very cliche, but it's hard in the moment when you're feeling bad to, you know, actually take it seriously.
Yeah, but they'll pass. And once you know that they will pass,
shall pass.
Yeah, Dr. Gary,
shout out Gary.
Shout out to Gary. He and I talked with Devin about this on a recent episode, but that very same idea that you're talking about is called concretization, which is the thought when you're in something, when you are wallowing, the feeling that thought or that feeling will never leave. That is concretization. And even just being exposed to that term helps me, again, stay away from being in there for too long.
It makes you feel less alone too. I'm like, oh, there's a name for it. That means that like it's happened enough to where people, you know, how to categorize it. So that 100%. Makes me feel more comfortable. Yeah, I'm concreting. Just, you know, concrete. You know,
I'm concreting too.
I'm concreting. That's what I've been doing this whole time. Yeah, just the spinning.
You know, Eugene, I think you make me laugh a lot on stage or not, and I appreciate that, and I appreciate your vibe, and I'm excited to see where you continue to go with comedy. I think that, you know, you're having a lot of fun, and I think that you're with it. You're smart and you're doing your thing, and I appreciate that. So good job.
And mad respect to you. To your dick, and it's an honor to be on here. You accepted that so well. Yeah, man. Yeah, I know. I hear you. Yeah, good dick. I mean, that's obligatory. Goes without saying.
A girlfriend once called it pretty normsies, so that's what I'm working with.
Oh Jesus. Okay, gotcha. Pretty normsies. All right, it's better than the alternative.
Yeah, it's pretty good. I'll take it. Yeah, I'll take dick.
Yeah.
It's a towny dick.
Right? Yeah. Your dick is divergent. It's really interesting angle. Very sharp turn. Yeah, but no. I appreciate it, and it's great to be here.
Awesome. Thanks, Gene. If people want to find out more about you, is there anything they can find online or any shows you're coming up?
No, but know that I am ramping up to start posting videos, posting those zesty, hard-hitting crowd work clips that everybody loves.
Oh yeah,
I'm gonna start scripting people in the audience. It's gonna be great. Setting up a lot of that. But I'm Gene the Cool on Instagram, where I just I can just see how I'm living and everything.
Cool. Rock on.
And other than that, nothing much to promote, my friend.
Nice. That's the way I like it.
Thank you.
I don't know what that meant.
I think that's your competitive edge. Good. Yeah. You're doing less than, as long as you're doing less than me, I'll keep having you on. Yeah.
Right on. You rock, Gene. Thank you for stopping by. Stick around for a minute or two afterwards.
I will.
And I'll be seeing you on the flip side.
I'll see you out there. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Fully clothed, maybe. Yeah.
Fully most of the time.
Most of the time, fully clothed. Yeah.
Yeah. Right on. Well, until next time, I got no panties on right now, but
nice.
Cool.
Of course not. It wouldn't have it any other way.
Yeah, that's how I do my pods. All right, Gene. We'll see you soon. Thanks again, my man.
Thanks for having me. Namaste, everybody. Have a great day.
Ciao.
Bye-bye.
Namaste.